Hi Glasgow! As you know, students have started going back to school in person. This makes things interesting for electives such as orchestra, band, chorus, and theater. Today we're going to be going over how this has affected orchestra and what to expect.
In orchestra, students of all grades at Glasgow can sign up to play instruments such as violin, viola, cello, or bass. You participate in activities and learn about things like international music, instruments, and playing technique.
Ms. Tazinski and Ms. Dizon are co-teachers for the orchestra department here at Glasgow. Ms. Dizon attended Kent State University in Ohio and teaches at Parklawn, Glen Forest, and Glasgow. This is her first year at Glasgow. Ms. Tazinski attended James Madison University and has been teaching at Glasgow for 2 years now. Both of these teachers have found so many different and fun ways to make orchestra exciting for both roomies and zoomies, what Ms. Tazinski calls her in-person and virtual students.
One of the biggest challenges we've faced with making orchestra virtual or concurrent is that we're missing the very, very core of what orchestra is, and that's an ensemble. We very much have relied on playing with recordings. We have a program that we use called Smart Music that allows the students to play along with a real sounding recording of their songs. And we also use Flipgrid for the students to show the progress that they've been making on their instruments.
Being a concurrent teacher now, it's really been a daily struggle trying to balance working with students who are in front of me in person and who are online. The best way that Ms. Tazinski and I have found is to make all the music accessible in terms of looking at the music. So having it available on the internet, that is Smart Music, or having it in the Google Classroom so that everyone can at least look at the music. The benefit that Ms. Tazinski and I have had is that there's two of us teaching, at least in the bigger orchestras. If one of us is teaching, the other of us may be available to walk throughout the room and help some students, and then go to the computer and see if anyone has private messaged or put a question in the chat or raise their hand and work with them while the other continues to teach. So that way, kind of picking it up.
Teaching orchestra through a computer has been incredibly difficult. My co-teacher and I have been working hard to come up with ways to make orchestra applicable even on a computer, which meant that we were exploring more things such as music theory or music history or listening activities. It did mean that the students had to focus more on their individual playing versus how their playing fit into a big picture or an ensemble. Ways that we've tried to make it easier is making games out of certain things, or with Flipgrids, just being accepting anything that's turned in and getting full credit for it and not having to worry about it being perfect.
Orchestra now opens in a different way. We start each class with an opening activity that often doesn't have a lot to do with music, just so that we can just start the ball rolling, get people woken up, which we wouldn't usually have in a normal year. We wouldn't have these opening activities, especially ones that aren't really related to music. We're doing some similar things to a regular year, working in some method books, doing some scales. We had earlier in the year done something that was quite unusual in music, in orchestra, was doing a big unit on world music, which was a lot of fun. And it allowed us to include the students at home because they've had some difficulty with playing along with us, depending on how early in the day their class is, or if people are napping in their home because maybe they work at night. And now we've been playing more pieces. Towards the end of the year, we've realized, Ms. Tazinski and I, that we really want to try to get more pieces into our students' hands. So we've been trying to do that. And that's a little bit more normal, having usually 3 pieces a quarter to prepare for concerts, which we're not having. When we read we being the teachers, when we read the news that we were going to get some students back in person, I thought, oh, great. We're going to have some students back in person. We can do some different things. And that's definitely been true. but I didn't realize how much more challenging it would be to balance those students in person and those students at home. And it's really been quite difficult, because you often feel as a human that, oh no, I'm paying too much attention to the students in person. Oh no, I'm paying too much attention to the students online, and just balancing that. The best way I found is to just slow down. I'm not great at slowing down, but trying to slow down and taking a breath and thinking, okay, who needs me at this moment?
The number one thing I've learned is that we're all very resilient and we're flexible. Regardless of how painful some of these changes have been and how frustrating they've been, we've done them. We're going to learn from this. We're going to pick and choose which parts of this year we'd like to continue, certain components, certain activities, and a lot of the things that we're just going to leave in the past. But a big thing that I've realized is that we're flexible and we can make anything work. Orchestra has always been a very big part of my life, and I would describe the orchestra program here at Glasgow as like a family within itself, right? All of the students are part of something that's bigger than them, and they're part of something that lasts multiple years. That's what makes a music program like this elective so special, right? You can commit to multiple years to it. You create friendships and relationships with other people. You form leaders. You take on challenges and learn new techniques that bring out the best in you. So a lot of the events that we do here at Glasgow that support that are concerts, or we perform at the high school, or we perform for in-school assemblies where we get to demonstrate that familial gathering and that ensembleship.
Concurrent teaching allows our students at home in an orchestra setting to get to hear the students in person. So they get this feeling of hearing what a group sounds like. Attention-wise, it's been difficult, and it's been really hard, because you feel kind of lost some of the time, because some students, just depending on how their home life is, it might be early in the morning, they might not feel comfortable with their camera, their camera might be broken, that you're not able to get that information from them as quickly as you'd like in order to help them. It's a slower process. It might be turning in a Flipgrid later. It might be them sending me an email later, I really didn't get this measure. And so just kind of retroactively reacting to those issues is what it needs to be for those students. And I'm really glad we get to at least have the feeling of hearing what an orchestra is again, even if we're not all there.
General thoughts about concurrent teaching would be, it's definitely been a challenge, especially as like technology issues are an everyday reality for all teachers, but also the want to make sure that every student is involved and feeling engaged and feeling important, and that can be tricky. Most of the time I feel like I am not ignoring, but I'm leaving the virtual students kind of on their own, where I'm giving more of my focus to the in-person students. However, the activities that we're doing are shared between both. So it's very difficult to kind of split your attention, but also wanting all of those kids to feel like they're important.
I have gotten so used to preparing for concerts. It was all about the concert. It was, this doesn't sound good, we've got a concert coming up, stress, 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 stress. And now it's more, we don't have a concert. Let's just see how this song sounds, and once we've gotten to a place where we like it, let's move on to another song.
I really liked the end of the year project, which we got to choose what we wanted to do, and we got to play different songs too. There's this one time we did something called the orchestra menu, and basically we got to choose songs and we would make like a menu out of it. So it was pretty cool. It's pretty fun because, you know, you get to like see like people in class who are in person. They like talk about what it's like in school, so you're basically like, experiencing it. The teachers they don't only just take care of the people in person, but they also take care of the people